What if the greatest evil in your life wasn't war, violence, or even death, but politeness? What if the very structure of your society, the things you've been taught to admire, manners, sophistication, education, success, were not signs of progress, but symptoms of decay? That's the kind of question that Jean-Jacques Rousseau forced the world to confront, and it's why his ideas were considered dangerous. He didn't just question the system, he questioned everything we believe is good. And in this video, we are going to peel back the mask of modern civilization and look at the hidden evil it conceals. It's not what you think, it's not obvious. But once you see it, you can't unsee it, because Rousseau's revelation is this: we are not born corrupt, we are made corrupt by the very society we think is saving us. We like to think we're better than the people who came before us, smarter, more moral, enlightened. But Rousseau flipped that idea on its head. He believed the opposite. He argued that the further we've moved from nature, the more we've dressed ourselves in artificial virtue, the more we've lost our original goodness. In his famous discourse on the arts and sciences, he claimed that the progress of civilization hasn't purified us, it has polished us, made us better at pretending, better at hiding our selfishness behind smiles, better at manipulating through charm. And the scary part? We've convinced ourselves that this performance is morality. That's the hidden evil. Not violence, but vanity. Not cruelty, but conformity. Not sin, but sophistication. And the worst part is that we call it normal.
Click subscribe to this channel to get more profound insights.
Think about your life. How much of what you do is driven by what you actually want versus what you think you should want? How much of your personality is shaped by what's rewarded in social settings, politeness, politicking, smiling when you're tired, applauding when you're bored? We're trained to perform from a young age, get the grade, say the right thing, dress the part. But Rousseau would ask, at what cost? We've traded authenticity for acceptability. We've exchanged raw aliveness for social approval, and society rewards it. It calls you well-adjusted if you can bury your instincts, professional if you can suppress your discomfort, successful if you can play the game. But what if the game itself is corrupt? What if every time you win at life you're actually losing something deeper, your soul, your truth, your wildness? Rousseau believed that in our natural state, untouched by institutions and social pressure, we were better. Not perfect, not angels, but free. And with that freedom came a kind of innocence, a capacity to feel deeply, to live simply, to act from instinct rather than calculation. But the more we built society, the more we created layers between ourselves and that original state. Laws, customs, rules, fashion, gossip. And with every layer, we drifted further from ourselves. We created a world where appearances mattered more than reality, where being good looked like virtue, but was really just obedience, where love became possession, friendship became competition, and success meant not becoming more human, but becoming more useful. That's the revelation most people refuse to see. Civilization didn't civilize us, it tamed us, and in doing so, it made us sick. But here's the real question. Can we ever return? Can we strip away the layers and find that original self again, the one that existed before the world told us who to be? Rousseau didn't have a clear answer. He didn't think we should abandon society entirely, but he did believe we should become conscious of its effects. He wanted us to stop mistaking polish for progress. He wanted us to question whether the institutions we worship, schools, governments, even families, are really helping us grow or just helping us conform. And that's the challenge I leave with you. What part of you have you silenced to be accepted? What instincts have you buried to be praised? What truth have you ignored because it didn't fit the script? Those questions are dangerous, but they're also the beginning of something real. Because if Rousseau was right, and I think he was, then the way forward isn't more improvement, more sophistication, more layers. It's less. It's simplicity. It's raw honesty. It's a return to the wild places inside you that haven't yet been colonized by the world. Why civilization makes us less human There's a strange irony at the heart of modern life. We call ourselves advanced. Technologically, economically, socially, we've never been more connected, more informed, more civilized. But look closer. Beneath the surface of our glowing screens and polished cities, most of us are exhausted, anxious, disconnected from ourselves and each other. Why? Rousseau would say it's because we've mistaken complexity for wisdom. We've built a world so obsessed with progress that we forgot to ask what we're progressing toward. And here's the uncomfortable truth. Progress without purpose becomes poison. Not because we're evil, but because we've lost our compass. We become masters of the external world, but strangers in our internal one. We've conquered nature, but surrendered to systems that strip us of our nature, and we wear it like a badge of honor. Rousseau's insight was that civilization doesn't just change what we do, it changes who we are. It programs us. It tells us what to value, what to fear, what to believe. It molds our desires to match its needs. Want to fit in, want to rise in status, then play by the rules. Be agreeable, be impressive, be productive, but never be too real, too wild, too raw. Because that threatens the structure, and so we hide. We become actors in a play we didn't audition for, wearing masks so long we forget our own faces. We call it maturity, but Rousseau would call it corruption. Not moral corruption, but existential. The slow erosion of authenticity in exchange for acceptance. And the deeper you go into the system, the more rewarded you are for your performance, and the more punished you are for your truth. Let's be honest, most of us know this already. We feel it. In meetings we can't stand, relationships that feel hollow, dreams that don't really belong to us. We feel the dissonance between what we want and what we're supposed to want. And yet we stay silent, because the system punishes those who step outside it. Speak your truth too boldly, and you're called difficult. Follow your instincts too freely, and you're called reckless. Choose a path outside the norm, and you're called irresponsible. But what if the norm is the problem? What if the entire structure is upside down? Rousseau believed that real virtue doesn't come from obeying laws or following customs, but from returning to what he called the natural man, the self that existed before society taught us to edit ourselves. And here's the twist. That version of you still exists. It's buried, not lost. Quiet, not gone. So how do we find it again? We don't need to abandon the world and run into the forest, though some days that sounds tempting. What we need is awareness, a radical, relentless honesty with ourselves. We need to start asking harder questions. Am I living the life I chose, or the life I was conditioned to chase? Do I speak from my truth, or from a script I've memorized? Does my success reflect who I am, or who I've pretended to be? These questions aren't comfortable, but they're necessary. Because until we name the hidden evil, this quiet, collective pressure to conform, we'll keep mistaking performance for purpose. And we'll keep wondering why life feels so hollow, even when everything looks perfect. Rousseau didn't give us a formula. He gave us a mirror. And what we do with that reflection is entirely up to us. How to reclaim your humanity in a manufactured world. To reclaim your humanity in a world that's been engineered to make you forget it, you first have to recognize this. You were never broken, only buried. Rousseau believed that beneath all the layers society has wrapped around us, there still exists a core version of you that is untouched by image, status, or ambition. It's the part of you that doesn't care about likes or resumes or elegant dinner conversations. It's the part that feels deeply, moves instinctively, reaches for joy without needing permission. And the tragedy is that most of us abandon that self by the time we're teenagers. We start trading curiosity for correctness, vulnerability for approval. And over time, we get so good at the game that we forget we're playing one. But Rousseau reminds us that original self never really disappears. It waits, quietly, for you to remember. So how do we begin the return? Not by rejecting everything around us, but by reevaluating it. Start with your desires. Ask yourself, who taught me to want this? Is this dream mine, or was it passed down by a culture obsessed with status and control? Do I actually enjoy the life I'm building, or am I just afraid to lose the image I've constructed? These questions cut deep, but that's the point. Because if we don't question our motivations, we remain slaves to them. Rousseau's philosophy forces us to confront the fact that freedom doesn't begin when society grants it. It begins when you claim it, when you stop outsourcing your identity to institutions, algorithms, and applause. And when you do that, you don't just rebel against the world, you re-enter it as someone real, someone whole. This return to the self isn't a retreat, it's a revolution. Because when you stop performing, you start connecting. You begin to build relationships that are based on honesty, not optics. You start to choose work that nourishes, not just impresses. You stop chasing validation and start creating meaning. And yes, it's uncomfortable. People might not understand you. You may lose opportunities, even relationships. But what you gain is priceless, yourself. And once you taste that kind of authenticity, no amount of approval will ever replace it. Rousseau didn't want us to go live in trees. He wanted us to wake up in the world we already live in and see it clearly, to stop mistaking refinement for wisdom and start valuing the raw, untamed truth that pulses beneath all the polish. So here's the final question. What would your life look like if you stopped pretending? If you spoke the truth even when your voice trembled? If you chose paths that made your heart beat faster, even if they didn't make sense on paper? If you stopped chasing what's next and started honoring what's real? That's not just philosophy, that's transformation. That's Rousseau's revelation, that the hidden evil isn't out there. It's inside the roles we play, the masks we wear, the silence we keep. But once you see it, once you name it, you can begin to live differently. Not as a product of society, but as a creator of something deeper than society ever offered. A life that is fully, wildly, unapologetically your own.